Glenn Maxwell here got that 39 of 28. The breaking news here, the national news headline is that he's at 5 sixes, which is 5 more than what he hit in the entire season of 2020 for Punjab. So that's the news here. He's got a half century there as well. And again, Michael, as you say, talking to players and giving them confidence. I think what he said after the previous game was just such an eye-opener. And I don't get why this was probably, it's another story of why this was not communicated to his previous teams, but apparently Bangalore and Mike Hesson and Virat Kohli have sorted this out. That he said, first of all, it's great to have AB coming in behind you, which I think holds true for just anyone in the world because he's just so special. And he says, it's a luxury to have this in Bangalore. Maybe I was pushed a bit too deep with the earlier teams and expected to go from ball one, and I'm not really good at that, right? Now, Michael, this can happen as well. You can almost, it's flattered to deceive, right? When you look at Glenn Maxwell pounding the ball everywhere in Australia, you kind of almost just forget to ask him that, buddy, can you do this from ball one, or do you need 10 balls?
Yeah, I think most players need 10 balls. It's a very small
Chris Gayle has shown that he needs 10 balls over time.
I mean, there's been a few that can go out there and strike it from ball one, but I do think most players need 5, 6 balls to get in. Glenn Maxwell is an incredible cricketer. He's never really flown in the IPL, but like we said about Moeen Ali, Chennai almost kind of finding this spiritual franchise and the right kind of franchise for Moeen Ali. I honestly think Glenn Maxwell has found the right franchise for him because he's under the radar. Because you've got Virat, because you've got Glenn, because you've got ABD. He's like third in command, whereas usually he's like first, and everyone's expecting something from Glenn Maxwell. He can just sneak under the radar. I probably don't think he's getting as much attention as he generally does in his other teams because there is Virat there and there is ABD. I think it's been a very smart move. Dan Christian, Glenn Maxwell, I think they're two very, very good signings this year.
If there are any bigger shows than the Big Show, Joy, it's got to be Virat and AB, right? So he's in the right team that way. But it almost seems so counterintuitive, right? Because you're thinking that this is traditional. It's a team that has never won. It's a team that has been chopping and changing a lot. And strangely, this is the team that gives him the security and the comfort.
Absolutely. And if you look at his first season, he'll always be benchmarked by that first season, 2014. Where was he batting? He was batting at 3. He was batting at 3. The next year also he batted at 3-4. So what actually happened? He had one really bad IPL season, which is 2015. Okay. After that, he's picked up in the auction the next year, but then his position has changed. After that, he's become this sort of 5, 6, 7, come in, rescuer, hit the last 5 overs kind of player. And that's not what he is. He really did well when he was batting at that upfront position. And batting with the security of knowing that behind me there's David Miller and George Bailey and all these guys are behind me. I don't need to worry.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, it's working. And if it's working for him, it's working for Bangalore. So far, it seems to be working for them. And of course, their fans will be hoping that it just stays this way. Big day for them today. Playing with only 3 foreigners. It's also a handful of examples that have happened. It just shows, obviously, that they've done well in the auction and built a team of domestic players.